Hello and welcome to the Veiled Oracle. My name is Nzinga. I welcome you to this channel where we talk about African traditional spirituality with a focus on the Shona people of Southern Africa. Sit with me for a while as we look to the wisdom of the ancients for solutions to some of our modern day problems. Remember, we are spirit having a human experience. Today we are going to be focusing on knowing the African God. Keeping in mind that I'm speaking to the spiritual belief systems of the Shona. Here and there may be overlap with Zulu traditions, but the words that I'm going to be using are going to be primarily Shona. Now, in our attempt to know God or understand divinity, let's just get it out there. It is important to establish some undeniable harsh truths. The first fact is that none of us can claim to know God. We believe in God, we pray to God, we have an understanding of God, but none of us can say, I know God. We are all trying to understand. Given the emerging information from historical sites and records, it is becoming a question of whether we have a God or gods and goddesses. For 2,000 years, there are those that have claimed and benefited from that claim that their God is the only God. And influenced the modern state, influenced the modern governments, and indoctrinated whole generations. 2,000 years is a long time. It's a mighty long time for people to have incomplete information. And then to seek to undo that, it's an uphill task. Now, from my point of view, forgive me if I'm come across as being overly simplistic. The question here that begs an answer is that surely if there has always been and always will be a one and only God, here's the question. Why did that God need to declare themselves the one and only? Unless if there were others also competing to be revered as deities. I mean, let me give an example. I have a child. I don't go to my child and say, I am your one and I am your one and only mother. Thou shalt have no other mothers besides me. My child would look at me, wondering if she needs to be calling the people who come with straight jackets. I'm sure their first question would be, what's wrong? So, anyway, according to the Sumerian tablets, this could very well be the case that there were other deities competing to be revered as deities. And then, of course, this would put a different complexion to the whole debate about God and prayer. The second fact is that there is no single absolute truth. What is truth today can become a falsehood tomorrow. The case that best illustrates this is the fact that at some point, all humans believed that the earth was flat, and that if you traveled long enough in one direction, you would get to the end of the world and fall off. Those of us who have studied history know of the story of Galileo Galilei, who was placed under house arrest by the Catholic Pope so that he could not spread his teachings, which were that the earth was actually round. Because this would have contradicted what had been the church teachings to that point, that there was hell beneath where all the bad people went, and the heaven above where the good people went. And now there was this man coming in and saying, well, actually, it's round. So there's no ground beneath with fire and brimstone for people to fall into. No, is there something above the canopy of this blue that we see? Of course, now we know that this blue is basically empty space. Needless to say, of course, he ignored the silencing order and proceeded to share his knowledge, and to date, we are all obliged to his bravery. I don't know if you have heard of the story of the 5 blind people who went to feel the elephant. In a nutshell, the story goes that 5 blind people went to the zoo, and in front of them was an elephant. And they were all asked to go and feel it so they could get a sense of what an elephant was like. So they all approached the elephant, went round it. You can guess what happened. One person touched the leg, another touched the trunk, another one was touching the tail, another one touched an ear, another one touched the tusk. And then they were asked to describe the elephant. And then one person was like, oh, it's like a big tree trunk. Another said, nah, it's like a wiggly snake. And another one said, no, it's like a thick curved stick. And then the other one was like, it's like a fleshy big leaf. And then the other one was like, it's like a cord, it's like a rope with a tuft at the end. Yes. When it comes to religion and spirituality, us humans are like the 5 blind people touching different aspects of the elephant. Was any of them wrong? Was any of them right? No to both questions. So what is the problem? Their experience of this elephant was only from their vantage point of view, from where they stood. And when it comes to our approach to the world of spirit, we suffer the same problem. The voice, experience, and perspectives of indigenous Africans has been left out of the global religious and spiritual discourse. While it is potentially problematic for me to say this, I would go so far as to say there are forces, and forces which are not of the light, which are not benevolent. There are forces that are actively engaged in a spiritual genocide exercise. And unfortunately, some of us are colluding with them without realizing it or understanding why it is so important for them to do that. Now, here are some reflections that I would want to pose to you, the watcher. And they are not easy. Is it that all the spiritual experience of indigenous Africans was evil and demonic? Were we all evil as Africans before we were saved and delivered? Is the fact that we have dark skin synonymous with having dark hearts? Does it follow that having a dark skin means you have a higher propensity, you have a higher likelihood of engaging in dark acts? We see this kind of race bias in the modern world. We hear of profiling, we hear of racial bias. There are some people who seem to think that the colonial religions actually saved us from our dark Africanness. It is sad when you have a people and a global community buying into the colonial mindset of viewing the dark skin of Africans as reflecting darkness and backwardness and ignorance. At what point does skin tone speak to the state of one's soul? I have a few more questions, and I'm sorry, but not sorry if I cause discomfort. Was there nothing of value in the spiritual belief systems of the indigenous people of Africa? And in the spirit of neighborliness, I will add the indigenous peoples of Australia, of New Zealand, of what is now called America. For indeed, they were indigenous inhabitants of that land whose culture was viciously and systematically decimated. Back to Africa. Was there total darkness in our practices? There was nothing that we did that was of the light. Was there no light in our prayers? Let me flip it. I speak for the Shona. I do not know the behind the scenes practices that took place in other struggles for liberation from colonialism. Among the Shona, those who fought in the War of Liberation were guided by the traditional beliefs and practices of ancestor reverence. They made supplications to the ancestors to be guided as they took on arms to overthrow the settler. Note this. These were the inhabitants, the original inhabitants of this land, who had been conquered in battle, misdirected and misled through fraudulent agreements with the British South African Company, who were now praying to their ancestors for deliverance. On the other hand, were the colonialists insisting on keeping these natives enslaved as an inferior class in their new social system, a labor class. These colonizers were praying to the very Christian God that they had imposed on these natives, praying to that God to suppress these terrorists. Now, I know we're going deep here, but it is important to think and then when we got independence, the Pentecostals came with a vengeance, and I always wonder where they were during the colonial era. Where were the Pentecostals? They only emerged after independence with one sole purpose of demonizing African traditional spirituality. And they came with guns blazing. Forgive me, I get passionate. Because this is more than just a choice of a spiritual belief system. This is more than just how you interpret your spiritual reality and your connection to the spirit world. This is the connectedness of spiritual belief systems and power and dominance and control and bias, where the one who does not subscribe to your worldview is another who is necessarily therefore inferior. And once you are labeled inferior, you are made less than human. You are dehumanized. You're made less than human. Every genocide throughout humanity, before the aggressor embarks on their genocide, they start by dehumanizing their target. They start by making them less of human beings, meaning that whatever atrocities that they may then carry out on that group of people, they don't need to feel bad, they don't need to feel responsible, they don't need to feel obligated to their fellow human being, because that other is no longer a full human being. And this is vitally important today because they are value systems, philosophies, ways of social organizing, ways of social interaction that kept the African communities and society with a certain level of integrity, which now is being systematically chipped away in the name of development, where greed is praised, where cheating is considered being smart, where a lack of integrity is considered having a good hustle. I grew up in an era where being called somebody who does deals was negative. But now doing deals is the way to be. Today has been a very deep session. So to allow you to digest and process, I'll stop here for today. If you found what I talk about interesting, I ask you to like and subscribe. Please drop a comment on your own thoughts, views on what I've talked about. And I always say, if you have any particular question, I may answer in the comments dialog box, or I may make it a subject for a posting and acknowledge you if you so wish to be acknowledged. So I look forward to interacting with you when I post my next post. In the meantime, keep well, stay close to the ones that you love and who love you back. And remember, you matter. If you think you don't, those that think they matter more than you will make decisions about the things that matter to you. It's been a pleasure sharing this brief moment in time with you. Beautiful children of the stars, keep well.